Here's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, what's that doing in the way? Hold on a minute, I'll do that again. Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you? Bon fin de semana to you. Did you have a bon fin de semana? Wishing you a boa semana, of course, on this bon dia, alegria. Slightly, actually brighter and drier than I thought it might be. Woken up at around 2 this morning by a thunder and lightning, very, very frightening indeed, event that plunged the house into the house was already dark, but the street went into darkness. Thunder and lightning took our electricity out, but it was back on within seconds. Quite miraculous, and thanks to all concerned who take care of those things behind the scenes. Very grateful to you. Children slept through it, which is fantastic, but awoken at around 2:30, something like that, and thinking that we were in for days of rain. We still might be. And we may have a little bit of a look at the weather a little later on this morning. How is it where you are? I mean, I posted up on Facebook about my weather situation. Oh, it's fine here in Cascais, said Linha de Cascais. So obviously it varies around the country. And I will be writing about the weather and the 300 days of sunshine in the Portugal Resident this week. That'll come out on Thursday. So how are you doing? How's your weekend been? John's had a lovely weekend. Tig James joins us at 9:30. And James, of course, James Holley, the old guy in Europe, will be with me after we've had a look at John Heimbach's weekend. Thank you very much. If you have pictures and videos to share of your weekend, John went to a nice car show by the look of it. If you've got some nice stills or videos, send them to 913-590-303. Nunu's in this morning. We'll take a look at that video in just a moment, John. Antonio F. João van Groningen is here. Jackie, the humble crafter. Good to see you, Jackie. Antonio Digo. Nice. And Coach Turner is in as well with the God Squad tip of the day for later on. So we'll do that towards the end of the show. And we'll cut and paste it to the Portugal Club as well for those of you who've committed yourselves to taking action, massive action on a bit of gentle fitness for bon viveurs. Now, talking of bon viveurs, John Heimbach was at all I've got to go on so far is a car show in northern Portugal. Let's have a look at how his weekend went. Very, very nice. What fun this weekend with the 6 buddies to the Porto Auto Classico in Matosinhos. Very good. Fantastic. It was great. I was quite taken by the music, and so was James, whose music we'll play in just a moment. But that was fabulous. Did I see an E-Type Jag there? And was that a Messerschmitt that you were in there. Good morning to you, Lee. She's just popped in. Keep it up with the Not Sober October. You're doing a great job. You're an inspiration to us all, Lee. Yeah, fantastic vehicles there, Joao Ernesto. A little bit distracted by the music. Me and James are getting down this morning. So let us know your favourites that you saw there, Joao. And was that a German three-wheeler that you found yourself in there? That must have been a bit of a squeeze. Getting into that, a front loader, I think, isn't it? That type of a German three-wheeler. Let us know, John. And what else did everybody else get up to this weekend? Nunu's in. Good morning to you, Nunu. Good morning, James Day today. Forte abrazo. James Day. It's officially hashtag James Day. Actually, you're right, because it's not only James Holley Day, it's Tig James Day as well. So it's very much the James Day. And we'll see Tig at 9:30. But until then, let's see what he's been thinking about, shall we? Let's play James's music and have a chat with him.
Bom dia! Feliz James dia.
James dia.
Dia de James.
Dia de James. That works, doesn't it? Yeah, tudo bem? Como estás, meu amigo?
Muito bem, obrigado. Contigo?
Muito bem, muito bem. You heard me saying I was awoken at 2:30 this morning with some climatic activity. Or is that just weather activity? What is the difference between weather and climate, James?
Weather is what happens day to day, and climate, I don't know
that sounds right.
But climate is more the all-encompassing sort of atmosphere around a certain place or whatever.
Yes. So if you'd asked me what the weather was like at 2:30 this morning, I'd have said, I can't hear you. The electricity's off, for example. And if you asked me what the climate was like, I would say, well, this is a rare outbreak of thunder and lightning in an otherwise 300 days of sunshine country.
There you go.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, and I woke up, I don't know, around 4 o'clock, and my light was on. I said, how did I turn it off? But I've got one of these lights that has a ultraviolet electrocution for bugs thing in it, so you can click it twice to have just the bug light on. So I do that at night. I didn't
know about this. Sorry, you're gonna have to rewind a bit. It's for killing bugs.
Yeah, right? It's like your tennis racket, only it's just in a bulb, right?
Yes.
It's got one of those electrocution things, but it's got a mechanism where you flip the switch twice to turn the light bulb off, but keep the ultraviolet on. So I do that when I go to bed. So
isn't that clever? So you can flick it, you can control it from the light switch.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So I was confounded in a 4 a.m. state of mind, of course. Like, why is my light on? And I said, oh, we must have had a power outage, just a quick one that went bink, bink, and turn the light on.
Yes, when great tech goes wrong.
Yes.
That's what happens, isn't it? The more complex things become, and you end up with because I guess the designers didn't think that would happen, did they? They weren't planning on that.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to plan a product based on a power outage.
You're not, are you? Well, that would be a very good start to any electronic or electrical project, would it? Wow, and is it effective? That's what my next question for you.
Well, for a long time, I thought no. I thought nothing's ever happened. I never hear it. I never see sparks, And then one night I heard what sounded like a dry twig. It was probably fairly substantial, that someone had just gone snap. Like, it was really this snap sort of sound. And I went, what the hell was that? And I didn't see anything, and it was dark, and I said, I'll have to investigate in the morning. I wandered around, didn't see anything. And then it happened 1 or 2 times, over long periods of time. I said, oh, it's working. The bugs are hitting it because
What was in
that
there?
sucker makes a
Like
big
mouse
pop.
was in there. What makes that sort of noise frying in your light bulb at night?
I think it's probably a fly. I can't imagine a mosquito would make that much noise, but that's why I have it. There's always the one mosquito that gets in and then keeps you up all night.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And there's quite the cycle, isn't there? Of there's a mosquito in my room. I can hear it. I better hide under the covers, or you're kind of in that like what you say, that 4 a.m. state of mind, which of course can affect you at any time of day, but especially at 4 a.m. And the mosquito comes in, doesn't it? Starts buzzing in your ear. So you've
straight at your ear, always.
Yes, cover yourself up. Yes. Have you got it in there with you?
Yes.
Do I get up and deal with it, or have I splattered it by slapping myself in the ear?
I actually keep a fly swatter next to my bed.
Do you?
Yeah,
right, okay.
Because I've noticed I'm up on a loft, so my head is very close to the ceiling.
Oh, right.
So I can actually touch the ceiling with my hand if I want to.
I see, right.
So I keep the fly swatter, and I hear that sucker buzzing around, and I just wait.
like a Zen master.
Yes, I just wait, and I hear it. I go off. Off in the distance, I hear it, and then I hear it closer, and then you can actually hear it when you listen.
Yes.
And there's nothing else going on. There's no other.
Right. Yeah. Mindful mosquito spotting.
Yes, exactly. So what I've learned once I get conscious is to not react when it goes at my ear.
Right. Yes.
So I want to get close enough. It's going, and I can get it. So oftentimes that happens, and I actually get it. But sometimes it goes away and it stops. But I've noticed that they tend to hang out on the ceiling above me, maybe because of my breath or whatever's going up.
Yes, the updraft.
So they hang out there. So then I'll turn the torch on my phone on.
Yeah, this is quite an intimate share,
yes.
Isn't it?
And I'll see it up there, and I'll reach over for my fly swatter.
Bang, and
so
it joins.
I'm pretty good at hunting the mosquito, but
can you play join the dots on your ceiling now, though, with all the old?
No, they tend to they actually take off as soon as they see it coming. So you have to get them you have to get them coming off the wall, because they take off kind of straight away from the wall. So you go up into them. And so you don't tend to smush them against the wall.
You should be writing a book or having a website. This is incredible information. Thank you very much. And also, would you agree with me that they have access to portals into other dimensions? Because sometimes
I think so, yeah. Because inevitably, more times than not, I'll think I got that sucker, and then sure enough, 5 or 10 minutes later, it comes back. And I go, "Oh, how do they know?" I go, "Oh, it's the DNA." Yes. If something tries to attack them, they'll go away for a period of time, because the ones that did that survived. Yes. The ones that kept coming got killed. Yeah. So there's that DNA thing again. It's all over the place.
We don't want to go the same way as old Gary, who just kept going. Actually, they're females, aren't they? They're not probably a Garvetta or something like that who just kept going, and they learn over time. Now, how can something as intelligent as that have remained in their place in the ecosystem? You'd think without technology, they could be running the world.
Well, I chalk it up to not to intelligence, but just to DNA. It's just instinct. Right. It's just survival. It's just what they're wired to do.
Yeah, they are quite focused on.
They don't think about it. They don't strategize. They just fly away.
Say that.
Come back.
I'm sure the ones in my bedroom strategize. They have meetings before they take off.
Well, I heard a comedian say once that he had a joke about the first fly of the season. And it's always the big, fat, hairy one that keeps flying into the window and then going across the room and flying into the window.
Yes, yes.
And we can all relate to that one. It's like, zip, bing, 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 zip, bing, bing, bing.
Yes.
We've all seen that one.
Happy times for us all.
And he says, but the mosquito is trying to get you to beat yourself up.
Yes.
Smack. With your own smack. It's like just hit yourself in the head, in the face.
Well, thank goodness then that you've got your trap and at least two options there. That sound is the complete disintegrating explosion of a little fly or mosquito by the electrical trap. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm thinking to myself, I feel a bit sorry for these creatures now, James. And obviously, we didn't expect to be talking about this morning, but they're
not for the mosquito. This fly maybe.
But these guys are in Eddie Taylor. And they're looking for somewhere to land for the evening, and they see a nice light, don't they? They see an ultraviolet light. They think, "Oh, look, a bar." I mean, that's the equivalent, isn't it, for us? It's like
Probably.
a bar with a neon sign that just says beer on it. It's like, "Hey, Steve, look, it looks like a great place over there. I can see UV. Let's
I'm
go."
not falling for that. No, really.
Come on,
Just the
come on,
one.
man. It's getting cold. It's getting late. Come on, don't be like that. And then they come into your house only to be lured to an explosive death. Anyway,
It's quick.
I shall leave that with you and your conscience. And say good morning to Lord and Lady.
I don't profess to be vegan, so.
How's it going in that kitchen of yours? Saw a little bit of video, and I was wondering if it should or should not be a health and safety video. Those guys are really going at it, clearing out your kitchen. Quite the before and after, and I hope you'll keep us up to date with what's going on over there in Travancore, of course. Between 1955 and 1962, James, the Bayerische Motorenwerke built the microcar front loader known as the BMW Isetta under license. That's what John was getting into. He's a big fella, and I think he enjoyed himself, certainly at the show, and maybe getting into the BMW there. That's why he took 6 mates to help pull him out of that thing after he shot himself inside it. What's it like in that little? It must feel very precarious, pulling up alongside an SUV or something.
Well, you mentioned Messerschmitt.
Yes,
who I think designed it, and my guess is they just took a cockpit and made a car out of it.
Sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? It's like, what are we going to do with all these cockpits? Right. Yes, very good. And you were enjoying the dancing. I saw you. You were dancing like no one was looking until I put you on the screen, and then everyone was looking. Both of us getting down. You quite like a bit of a boogie by the look of you this morning.
Oh yeah. There's certain rhythms. Latin rhythms just always take me. It's like I lose my mind. I'm just all in my body at that point.
Yes.
And certain techno, but trance, where there's kind of a melody, a melodic, a musical line going through it, but the rhythm will catch me. There's a lot of different things, but yeah.
Have you succumbed to the Portuguese pimba rhythms?
I couldn't tell you what a pimba rhythm was by its name. Maybe I've heard it.
And what about the sound you hear from a lot of passing cars in Portugal?
Oh, okay.
Like that one?
Yeah, that's a familiar, and it's not just a rhythm for me. When it comes to techno, I'm not a big bass and rhythm or bass and drum kind of guy.
Right.
Hard house is not my thing.
Okay. What have you been thinking before we run out of time completely talking about mosquitoes and dancing? What's been on your mind? And I do have a request for you for the I think it's probably for this next month or so. So tell me what you've been thinking about.
Okay. Now I'm curious. It's funny. I've been so much of what I think about, obviously, is my own experience, what I'm going through. And my latest challenges have been trying to coordinate a series of medical appointments that needed to be in a specific order within a certain period of time. Mm. And I've been using Serenity to help me, which is great. But there have been challenges that haven't made a lot of sense to me. And then I got to thinking about some of Barack's experiences trying to get things done in Portugal, and other people talking about the bureaucracy and all this other stuff. And it's like, it got me thinking about culture, because the explanation that I have come up with for people who go through similar struggles now is understanding the culture. And that got me thinking about culture. What is culture? And it's so much more when you think about it, so much more than just the music and the food and the art and, the beautiful scenery, the kinds of things. That's sort of tourism culture, right? But I think we get it in our head that that's what culture is. But culture is also language and living a life and day to day and attitudes and ways of thinking that are literally foreign. Yes. The American way of thinking is not the Portuguese way of thinking. Correct. Or the Italian way of thinking or any other culture. So when you get into way of thinking, I'm noticing a pattern for myself. It's like when you don't understand the politics, follow the money. When you don't understand the behavior, follow the DNA. When you don't understand, why things are the way they are in a different place, follow the culture. And then you begin to understand it. It starts becoming rational. Where at some point it just feels totally irrational. Why would they do it this way? This is stupid, is how the feeling. Like, if they did it this way, it's like, well,
does it crack? Yeah.
If you're from a culture of doing things fast and supposedly efficiently and boom, 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 get it done, so you can move on to the next thing that needs to be done, so you can make more money. That's what, at least a part of how I would define American culture, is built around that kind of way of thinking and organizing and behaving as a culture. Portugal clearly is not that. So why do they do it that way? It's not going to make sense from an American or probably any other foreign mindset. The Hawaiians might understand Portuguese culture quite well, because they're very laid back. Do it on your own time. If the surf is good, you go surfing. That you don't go to work, you go to surf, that kind of thing. So I think the cultures might be a better match there. But anyway, the thinking about it got me to think about something I said a long time ago on one of our webinars. Someone was complaining, why don't they do it that way? Or, it just doesn't make sense. The same kind of thinking. It was an American who was complaining like that. And I had a fairly... What?
No.
I had a fairly strong reply, because the attitude was mostly, why did you come to? The question was ultimately, why did you come to Portugal? And the people that were having the hardest time came because of cost of living. That was their primary reason, because it's cheaper. And I said, if that's your reason, it's not going to work. You're going to want to leave. If that's your only reason, that's your most important reason, it's not going to work for you, because there's so many things that are different, that are, I don't want to say better, but reasons that you would stay, not reasons that you would leave. And for me, it always goes to, I always quoted the culture. So, but for me, when I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about my experience of the people and the people's attitudes of generosity and kindness and respect and a certain degree of compliance in that, where the American mind is very rebellious, like, don't tell me what to do. And the Portuguese are more like, well, how can I help? The attitude is just very, very different. So if you come for those reasons, you're probably going to stay, because you're going to find something that really suits you. That was my experience. But if you come because it's cheaper, it won't matter that it's cheaper, unless the difference is you're going to die if you're somewhere else because you don't have enough money, and this is the only place you can survive.
And that's changed, isn't it, since that conversation?
So it all came from my own experience of doing this. As my specific was my sense, and this is just based on my personal experience. So it's a very, very limited pool of research, me. But I was really having a hard time getting my screenings and tests done prior to my appointment with the specialist, who's going to look at the results of those tests and give me some information before I see my family doctor, so that she can keep track of my long-term health, what's changing, what needs to be done based on all of this stuff. So they were giving me the cardiologist before I had the heart screening, and they were then giving me the family doctor before I saw the cardiologist. And I was trying to communicate that they need to be in a certain order, and that I have to have enough time after the screenings and the tests for the results, so that I can then give them to the next doctor. And it just didn't seem to be computing. They just okay, here's this appointment, this appointment, 3 appointments on 3 different days, 3 different times. It's like, my efficiency mind is going crazy. Of course, this is the American efficiency mind for me, so it's both.
I know how it sounds. I know, and its voice is, Come on, buddy. That's how it sounds, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of. It's more like, this is so damned inefficient. It's more like that. But so it's like, I need a blood draw, but they're only open till 11 a.m. But they give me a echocardiogram at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's like, well, can I get an echocardiogram in the morning so I can get my blood drawn, then do my echocardiogram, then go home? And it's like, well, and they hadn't considered that, So anyway, there's just all these different things that are like my efficiency mind, and what's left of my American culture is just going. And when I look to my Portuguese friends, particularly Luis and Sidonio, they get an appointment, they go. They come back, they get another one, they go to that one.
Yeah.
They come back, they get another one, they go to that one. And it's not about trying to do it efficiently. It's not about how long it takes out of their day. It's not about missing work. It's not about any of those things. It's not about inconvenience. It's just, you got an appointment, you go. So I even in my processing, I said, okay, well, because I had a Holter exam, which is basically a 24-hour EKG thing. And you're supposed to return the equipment the following day. So that's 2 trips just to get that one thing done, right? So I'm thinking, well, if I need to do this and this, but I can't do that one till Monday, and the Holter's on Thursday, I was supposed to return it on Friday. What happens if I just keep it for the weekend? Because I know they only use it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was already told that. So they wouldn't be missing it. It's not like someone couldn't get the test because it wasn't there before Monday. So what if I did that? I haven't seen anything in writing. No one said you must. No one said it's against the law if you don't. Nothing like that. Just bring it back tomorrow is all I was given, or, the next day. So I asked Louisa, I said, do you have any idea what would happen if I didn't return the Holter on Friday, but waited till Monday? And she was baffled. This is where I started getting the clue. Yeah, she was trying to process, like, even what the question meant. Like,
yes.
It's because it's so foreign to the culture, to the way of thinking, to the way we're brought up. We're told, bring it back tomorrow. We bring it back tomorrow. We just do it, right?
That moment. Yes.
And so I tried to explain it to her, and she was contorting her face, like, why would you do that? Like, what? And she says, and her reply was, no, you're supposed to take it back the next day.
Come on, James.
And so it's just been as a result of this process for me. And generally I am very calm and patient. It's like, okay, whatever. But this was for me, it was becoming more urgent because I want to get all this done before I move. Because once I move, I know I have to start it all over again with brand new people and brand new places. And it's like, just get this done and I won't have to do it again for a year. This is my annual checkup, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll have a whole year to acclimate to my new environment, get things set up, and be ready for the next round. So that pressure at the end of it, not knowing for sure when I'll be moving and really wanting to get done, is what generated the efficiency mind and the American attitude of get it done, do it. I need it this way. Can't you just do it my way instead of me accommodating you? And again, cultural differences. So that has been a very informative. It's actually been 3 months that I've been going through this process.
There's so much in there, and culture is very interesting, because you gave a tangible example, didn't you, of what people think they're coming for and what people struggle with. But the thing about culture, there's a lot of intangible in culture, isn't there? It's not like a blog post about 10 reasons why you should move.
No.
Culture is just so fascinating. And I think I can't explain a lot of why I love it here. But I can use the shorthand culture. And when you nuance that or look deeper into what that means, it goes very intangible. And it's a lovely conversation, actually, because I was thinking about this last night on the dog walk about freedom in Portugal, about how, I feel, why did I move here? I just came right back to that first question. It is culture. I love the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the politics. I don't love the finance system. Who does? But there are many other overwhelming and beautiful things that are less tangible than being able to say, I don't like that, or I don't like that. There are so many wonderful things that I would have to.
I came for the NHR.
Yes. And
okay.
Well, we'll come back. We'll have to have a part 2 on this because we need to bring Tig on. But Nunu simply says, when, no matter the subject, the only motivation is money, it never works. Yeah, I guess in the end,
I think I agree.
Yeah, and Joao Ernesto, Americans also tend to have much less experience or exposure to other cultures due to the sheer size of the country. Fair point. Most other cultures interact with others way more frequently. It's interesting, isn't it? And Americans often on their own terms, I guess, in the scale of America. It will be an American experience of something, won't it? Rather than being there and immersed, perhaps.
Yes, and the deeper culture is my way is the best way. It's deep in the culture. So people should be doing it this way.
Yeah.
There is that attitude.
Any culture that is insular or myopic will naturally be less understanding and adaptable to a new one. As a British citizen, I do not understand what you're saying there, Joanne. Some of what you're saying, yes, I would agree. However, there are situations where the lag of time, yes, but, says Lord Travanka, a lot of time or lackluster of importance is just incomprehensible, man.
I'll just add to you, to someone who's not from it. It makes total sense to them. So the us and them thing, but yes, makes sense to the culture.
We'll see what we can do tomorrow evening, Barack, in the continuing adventures at the Portugal Club tomorrow evening. So see you there. Thank you for your comments on that. And thank you for opening that can of cultural worms, James. I'll get around to my request of you because it is connected to the American experience very much and the rest of the world's experience of the American experience. But in the meantime, let's bring on Tig James. Now, you've got your own theme tune, James. Tig hasn't. She really should have the national anthem, Tig James, MBE. So I'll work on that. In the meantime, Tig James, not James.
James, just say James.
That's very British, isn't it? James, are you ready?
you Jameses.
Right, there we go. Portuguese national anthem for Tig James here, MBE.
Morning.
Do you want to stand for this? Do ba 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 ba.
Whoa.
There you go. We love that. We haven't heard it for ages. Good morning to you, Tig James.
Good morning. The last time I saw you two, there was 2 bearded wonders. There's now only 1.
Wow, has it been that long?
My goodness, yeah. I'm not used to seeing myself. With
I grew mine, and Carl just stayed the same.
Yeah. Yes, I grow it out of the weekend, but nobody needs to know that. But yes, I'm really and bald-faced, or bald-headed and bald-faced for the GMP. Where you are this morning, thanks for coming back, Tig.
Welcome.
How's it going? I think we've got the continuing adventures, haven't we, of acronyms. ETIAS, EES, all that sort of stuff, and Q&A. We're going to go Q&A this morning if you've got any questions for Tig. But have you got any headlines for us?
Just be very aware that obviously the EES is coming in, isn't it? Where anybody that is not an EU citizen doesn't apply to people with residency in an EU member state. But if, say, you're a Brit or an American coming over, then you're going to get your fingerprints and photograph taken, your biometrics. Yes. When you come in to the Schengen area, because they're tightening up on everything. And I think one of the things that has really, even now, it did actually surprise me the other day. I'm coming across even more and more Brits that still haven't got their biometric residency cards, withdrawal agreement biometric cards, and are overstaying.
Yes.
And there's two separate issues there, really. They haven't got their withdrawal agreement biometric cards, so they've still got their piece of paper with the EU citizen residency, which, of course, at any port of entry and exit are just, well, you shouldn't have this. This is invalid. And I just think, and again, it's a well-known thing about British exceptionalism, isn't it? Sort of like, oh, they won't do that to us. We're British. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will kick you out, and yeah, they will ban you. But I've come across 2 just in the last few days.
What happened? Tell us.
Well, they one was saying that they knew they were going to overstay. but it's okay. I've been here decades, and
That's a great reason, isn't it?
It's fabulous, isn't it? I've been here decades. I've had a house here for decades. They won't do anything to me, and it's always, far more serious when you try to come back in.
Yeah, of course.
But
And that's when you don't want to be on the wrong side of things, is it? And in fact, if you get into a squabble on the border and you say something like, as a British person, I've been here longer than you've been in your job, my good man. Let me in. That's not going to really wash, is it?
It's not going to wash, is it?
No, just makes your overstay longer.
this person, one of the people was that, it's because of family issues that they decided they were going to stay a month over, and it was something like 24 days, I think it was. And I was like, and I said, you do know you'll be an illegal immigrant? Oh, well, I've had this house for certain.
Okay, so those sort of things are not terribly helpful in your cause and your case, are they?
It's just, to me, it's incomprehensible. And I mean, they know that they've overstayed, but nothing will happen to them. And it's sort of, well, and it won't happen till November, till this new system comes in. Well, actually, yes, because a record is made already of you coming in and out, and people have been. And this is what I was saying before, wasn't it? And it's sort of, and again, when you've got wealthy Brits, they'll go, "Oh, I'll just pay the fine." I mean, it's not just a fine; you get banned.
Right. Well, thank you for pointing this out, basically.
And deported, yeah.
But also, it's not just the ban, is it? It's if you get banned from the Schengen area, then the EU country that you're going back into then can actually decide not to take you back in when you arrive because you've already broken the EU rules. Right.
Okay. So let's deal with that part of it. Is all of these, ostrich type positions, we could call them. I've been here forever. Exceptionalism. You can't treat me like that. Actually, yes, you are just like anyone else now, and you will be subject to the law. Now, there are people, I think you might agree, Tig, in the grey area who've fallen foul of loops and difficulties in engaging with the system. And I've got a little anecdote to share on that. So, your advice, I think, has been before, is do what you have to do and keep records if you find yourself not able to engage with the system. When we know the system is under incredible pressure. And Mrs. M, we had a situation. This is what I wanted to share, given that you're here from a Brit's point of view, is that we had a situation where we had a password lockout, which I suspect you're familiar with people. Yeah. So we reported this by email, and it's all, it's back in process, which is great. And it's a much better feeling to feel like you're inside the circle of trust than outside the national circle of trust. But we sent an email, which, of course, I didn't think was ever going to get read. And this is the sort of thinking you can get into, isn't it? It's like, and that's not an excuse either. Just because you've sent an email doesn't mean, you're going to get back into the country if you fall foul of the regulations. One thing I wanted to point out or share with people is that I was getting calls from a number that came up as suspected telemarketer on my phone. And it was actually Ima. Yes, okay. I realized later on when I answered it, and I spoke to a lovely man called Carlos at Ima, who gave us the instructions on what to do and was really, really helpful. And it was an outbound call to us. So I just wanted to share with people to be careful that, as annoying as it is to get a telemarketer cold call, if Ima are calling you and it comes up as that and you ignore it, you do miss a golden opportunity, don't you, to speak to them because they've bothered to call you, which is quite a rare thing. So I would think twice when it comes, or if you want to know what the number is, I probably shouldn't give it out on air, but if somebody wants to know what that is, to put it in their numbers to answer rather than to ignore, I can do that. But I thought that was amazing. And the service, once you do engage, is very, very good. So it's not exceptionalism, but it's like there is still that great relationship if you get into the right side of it between the Brits and the Portuguese, and they are doing their best once you engage. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just, great that they rang you. Fabulous. Yes. And people are getting phone calls, but one of the biggest problems that people have had and are still having is that when they do ring you, they tell you to email.
I'm just ringing you up to tell you to email.
Yeah, honestly.
Wait.
Yeah, countless times. It's like, no, I've got you on the phone. No, you've got to email. And they refuse to do anything. So you email again.
Wow. Yes.
And
And
then
you get
then you get a phone call. You've got to email. No, don't, just help me, but people, from what I can gather, people are starting to get responses now with the withdrawal agreement biometric cards.
Okay.
People are actually so but again, going back to what we were saying about issues that people are having, one of the things is there are more and more people coming to me who just never bothered. And there's all sorts of reasons, and I mean, basically they just didn't bother, or they got halfway through it and they actually went for their appointment but never quite managed to pay for it, and all these sort of things. And of course now time has gone on, and now they can't, the payment, whatever it is, whatever you call it, order or whatever, has expired, so they now can't.
Well, that's another point we should perhaps reiterate, is that you do get a multi-banco reference, don't you, which is only valid for a certain time. How long generally, Tig, is that valid for?
I actually don't know. I think it might be a couple of weeks, maybe. I'm not sure on that. And normally you have to wait 48 hours for it to actually work.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's a sweet spot, isn't it, between you, because some, you have the best of intentions, don't you? You want to pay it, and then you realize I can't pay it yet because it's not active, and then it goes off your mind, and then 2 weeks later it's too late. So yeah, reprioritize that.
It's too important to, and I mean, people now, I mean, I've got people that couldn't pay 18 months ago, nearly 2 years ago, and are saying, oh, I never bothered, can you help me? I'm having a real problem getting my card now.
So there's a whole lot.
You don't say.
Really? You think?
I'm so surprised.
I mean, there's a lot of human nature in this, and that's what you're dealing with by the sound of it, isn't it? Is people sticking their head in the sand and not dealing with things.
I think, again, though, the bit I find difficult to understand is this is too important. This is your document to say you can live here. Yeah.
And I'm not making excuses for people, but based on, I have lived here for 300 years and I've got a house here. People do equate that, don't they, with residency, and it's just not the same thing.
It was one of the huge myths that I actually had to really, really dispel right at the beginning of this, years ago. People said, well, I've got a house here, it won't affect me. What your property ownership is in a country is absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with whether you get residency or not. It's about your nationality, and being British, you're no longer an EU citizen.
And au contraire, right? Because can you imagine being locked out of a country where you've got a property? It would go from bad to worse, wouldn't it?
That's what's happened. And this is what I'm trying to say to people. Overstaying is not, oh, it'll be all right, I can leave. It's, it won't be. No, because if you've got I mean, I know people, the person I was talking to a few days ago about this has got everything here, spends 3 months here, 3 months in the UK. House, car, the works here. And then it is now going to leave over 20 days over. Okay, right. So it gets to the airport, and they're going to go, oh, okay, really? They can ban them immediately from the Schengen area for a minimum of 6 months.
Right, so that's very serious. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Serious. Yeah.
And as Pete is saying in the chat, excellent advice as usual, Tig. And you've very neatly joined the acronyms together of EES, ETIAS. Well, there's the situation of overstaying your welcome, but which will be exacerbated now by the biometric situation or a procedure that's about to come. How's that going, Tig? Because a lot of people are also thinking, in the same way as we've just talked about, oh, Portugal's not going to get that together. I know they've been told to by Schengen, but it's never going to happen. It's looking like it might, right? And if it does, it's quite a serious escalation of security, isn't it, on the border?
Yeah, I mean, it's been coming for a while. But I mean, literally instantaneously, as from November onwards, the border guard at the border, they will instantly know how long you've been in the area, how often you've been in, how often you've been out, and it will immediately flag up if you've overstayed.
Right.
Immediately. Okay. It's all completely computerized. So there won't be, there's no sort of like, oh, I hope the guard won't, clock that, oh, I'm stamping my passport's this. And And there'll be none of that.
Oh, I see. Right. So the discretionary part will basically evaporate as soon as it goes completely electronic biometric. Is that right?
I don't know if it will completely, but what I'm saying is it'll come straight up that they're an overstayer.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's enforceable in a way that, you know, you might or might not get by before. There's no might not get or might get by this time. Not going to happen.
And I mean, and what this person was saying to me, oh, well, if I get a good guard, and I'm going, whoa, you know, look, and I mean, it is computerized now. But I think, like you say, when it's absolutely nailed down in November, that'll be it.
Yeah.
And people forget that the job of that person is to make sure that you're here legally or not. That's their job.
Your buddy. Yeah.
That's their sole purpose of being there. Is to make that determination.
Absolutely. Is who they're letting in and who is this, should this person have been in this out my country, this like, it's their job. That's what they do. Absolutely.
Okay, a couple of questions, comments. I will come back to that one because that's a very practical one. This is a somewhat hot button response, Peter. Never underestimate a British person's stupidity. People we knew who lived in Spain voted Brexit and then didn't apply. Beauty fades, but stupid is forever. Peter. Bon dia, raining cats and dogs over there. Oh, yes, in central Portugal. A lot of lightning, lights went out, and Diane has done all the fuses, but drying. What does that mean? Pete stayed in bed by the sound of it and sent Diane to deal with everything, is what that sounds like to me. Hope you're okay, Diane. And did you have to replace Pete's nails from the fuse board or something like that? There's a lot of places you can go in Europe if you get banned from the there's not a whole lot of places. Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? You can still go to Switzerland, but they've probably got some data on you as well, haven't they? To say that you couldn't get into Schengen. They're probably sharing, even though they've got this special relationship, haven't they? Spot on. Yes, you're lying in bed. Sent Diane out to deal with the weather there. Very good. And a question here, a concern, I think, for Jackie. I'm coming over for a couple of weeks after Christmas. Do I need one of those biocard things? So this is also the sort of thing that's going to happen, isn't it? It's like people thinking they need that to come into Portugal. Now, could you explain, Tig, please?
No, the withdrawal agreement biometric cards or residency cards are for only people that actually live in Portugal, British nationals or any third country national, not an EU citizen that lives in an EU member state. You don't need that. No, because you're not a resident. You're a resident in the UK. So no.
You're coming as a tourist, and you may be measured soon biometrically, but you have 90 days to be, well, not just here, it was 90 days in the Schengen area, isn't it, Tig?
Yes, throughout the whole Schengen area, yeah. In out of the retrospective 180.
Yes, that's right. And so those people who are still trying to snowbird and come here for 3 months, then go home for 3 months, they're cutting it quite fine, aren't they? That's quite a risky game to play.
It certainly is, because somebody said to me not very long ago at all that basically their train was cancelled, their Eurostar. Oh,
so it meant they were stuck this side.
They were stuck this side and overstayed by a day.
And just for the sake of this discussion, how do border patrols tend to respond to, sorry, my train was cancelled?
They don't. You've overstayed.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for that. So
should have planned sooner.
But what I think, seriously, if people are travelling through and they want to be in the Schengen area for it's not each country for 90 days, it's the whole of the Schengen area. If people are going to do that, I know we've discussed this before, if you get a car and you're driving through, and say you come from France and you're driving through to Portugal, you're already in the Schengen area when you hit France.
Yeah.
That is day one.
Yes.
Day one, when you get off that train and your car drives its first tyre on, that is day one.
Yes.
Okay. So you're 2 days travelling through, that's 2 days, not when you actually get to your destination. Yeah. And please, people are being caught out by this. Trains are breaking down, cars are breaking down, they have an accident, somebody's ill. Yeah. They're driving back and they've left a day's leeway.
And you don't really want that worry, do you?
No.
I guess some people
few-
live on it, but yeah, that's a worry you probably don't want,
yeah,
and you might start to sweat a bit as you go through customs or passport control. And I guess they're looking out for people sweating there, aren't they?
yeah, they did. I mean, they're changing body language. They're changing body language. It was so funny because I used to get stopped, regularly. Every time I got on a plane I even got stopped going out at Birmingham Airport.
Did you?
Going out, yeah.
You can't leave. You can't leave, Tig.
Oh, it was. I used to get stopped all the time, and I think it was because I'd got student on my passport. I don't know. And as soon as I changed my passport, completely stopped. But every time I flew, I got stopped. Every single. And it's like I say, when I went to when I was flying out of Birmingham one day, and I was flying to Paris, and I got a stack of presents with me from my French friends, and we've all grown up together, so I know what they like and whatever. Do you remember Tip Tops?
No. What are they? What, ice lollies?
That's it. The ice.
Do you remember
they're James won't know what they are. They're just like ice sticks in plastic.
Yes.
And then what you do, you just, when you get them from the shop, you then just stick them in the freezer and they freeze. And you just give them the kids, didn't you? And
well, yeah, and we would celebrate our one day of summer with some of those Tip Tops.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Americans have those. They just don't call them Tip Tops.
Okay.
I don't know what they call them, but they've got the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, we went. So I'm there, and I literally go to passport, and I get pulled over, and they've got my cases. So, trying to fly out, and I'm like, what on earth is... Anyway, here we go again. So they enter a case, and I had got 2 boxes of Tip Tops for my friend's brother, because he loved them, absolutely loved them, obviously unfrozen. And I can't remember how many were in a box. Was there 24 in a box? And he said, and the trouble is you feel like you're being really sarcastic, but you're not, because he said, well, what's in this? And it's got Tip Tops on it, big letters. And I went, Tip Tops.
Funnily enough. Don't get smart with me, young lady.
Absolutely. And I said, on it, Tip Tops. And he went, Open the top and did that. And all 24 Tip Tops went all over the place. I mean, totally unnecessary, of course. Anyway,
great TV, though.
Gets to the second box. He said, and what's in here? And I thought, ooh.
This is a trick question.
Went, Tip Tops. And he went, right, did that, did the same. Really? So you've got 48 Tip Tops all over the place.
Like a game of fiddlesticks.
But anyway, I mean, because you can't say anything, can you? Because you're only going to...
They do the jokes, yeah.
So anyway, and he went through everything, every present in that case, everything was ripped open and packaging.
I'm glad those days are behind you. Goodness gracious, can you imagine trying to carry 48 Tip Tops through in hand luggage these days? It's not
it's liquid, isn't it? Well,
too much liquid, yep.
It's going to happen, is it? The lethal Tip Top lady. She is again. Take it down. Right.
But I tell you what I did, it was what you were saying about we were talking about body language. I actually changed my body language to see if it would help, and it did. So I used to slump over, your cart where you stick your cases on. I used to slump over it as if and yawn, and I used to get through then.
Very good. Very good. It's funny, isn't it? The little dramas people are going through in their heads when it comes to a police check or a passport control or something like that. They've seen them all before, haven't they? There's the slumping, yawning one. There's the sprightly student. There's Tip Top lady. Yes,
absolutely.
Because of your sterling work here, I can tell you that you've been promoted as well this morning. You're now Lady.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you.
Lady Tig of the GMP. So that's a big relief for Jackie. So thanks for answering that. We're into our last 5 minutes. I wonder if you'll stay, both of you, and look at a God's God tip of the day. Talking of body language, this is how we talk and treat our bodies. Just a quick weather check and a situation check with you, though, Tig, before we do that. How's your weather in the Algarve?
It's raining, it's overcast, it's cloudy and really humid. But apart from that,
right, okay. And how are you getting on in your new gaff there as well? Just checking. You look very comfortable there, I've got to say.
Oh, I love it.
Excellent.
Best thing I did. Yeah.
Good to hear that. All right. And the renovation's going nicely, all sorted?
All done. All done. And we were talking about that actually the other day, because from the day that I bought it to the day the renovation finished and I moved in was 5.5 months.
Well, that goes against all trends and beliefs, does it not?
Absolutely. That is just, do not take that, anybody who's listening, as the norm. That, I
Why
mean,
not? Let's do it. Let's just
Let's
spread
call
the
that
word.
an outlier.
No,
this
let's
is
say that's
just not,
normal.
not normal, is it? It's just,
No. I think that can be the new normal, basically. Yeah. So if you're looking to get a renovation done here in Portugal, Tig says it's about 5.5 months from start to finish.
it does not
Count on it.
Congratulations on your move. That's a joke. That was a joke, everybody. It's like 300 days of sunshine. It's not really true. And it's not really the Venice of Portugal.
Isn't it? I thought that was true.
I'm in so much trouble with all of these things. I don't want to talk about it right now. Let's switch to the weather.
Quick,
And
get off the subject.
get on to the weather. It's raining basically everywhere. So I'm
I
looking
thought
at,
it was true about the 300 days, Carl.
well, apparently, and I'm going to write about it this week.
Okay.
It's been 250 this year.
Really?
Yes, it's been an extraordinarily terrible weather year. It's
not
one
been
I've been
good.
waiting for all this time. And it's, I think Dougie Hughes said to me, it's actually 250 it's been. And of course, we were talking about weather and climate. Climate expectations are for 300 days of sunshine a year. And I've launched a research project. It's not going terribly well. It's about 3 days of sunshine, 3 days of rain so far. But I shouldn't have started it in October. James, you're not helping.
It's flawed research, but
Yes, my research project involves an anorak, sadly.
it involves Carl looking out his window occasionally.
You're
How
not
often he
joking.
got wet? Yeah.
It's not funny. That's the truth. Parabéns todos, Coach Turner. You've made it. Well done, everybody. You've made it to another week. And we're trundling towards the end of civilization. No, sorry, end of year festivity.
As we know it.
As we're chased by a pack of wild dogs. Better make sure we enjoy every day. What does he know that we don't? God's squad tip of the day then. A rant. Oh dear. Ending on a rant this morning. According to the BMI, the body mass index. Tig's already said to this. I was coaching a young rugby player on Saturday. He's my height, which is about 7'2", and 20 kilos heavier, so would be classed as obese. Yeah, BMI. It's an airline, isn't it? It shouldn't be a serious scientific.
BSI.
A friend of ours, yeah, BSI, right. A friend of ours is a high-level triathlete, and she was told by her doctor that she was overweight. Can you imagine? Imagine there's a doctor there, GP, smoking and drinking, saying, you know what your problem is, you triathlete? You're obese. This just demonstrates how unreliable the BSI is. We've renamed it. Thanks, James. Particularly
BMI is, though, it's from old facts and stats, decades years old, and it's just not correct.
It belongs with the food pyramid, doesn't it? That tells you to eat 300.
Apparently, it doesn't distinguish between muscle weight and fat weight.
So that's my excuse, James. Exactly. Particularly for people who do muscle building exercise. It is, of course, only a crude indicator. Who doesn't like a crude indicator first thing in the morning? But medical professionals should take into account other factors, though often don't. What? Mm-hmm. The danger is that we might take their advice on board and start to lose muscle mass, which generally is not good for us as we age. I've noticed this every time I sit down now. For me, a much better point of a healthy weight is much simpler. Is your waist measurement less than half your weight? Well, that's an easy one to do, isn't it? Then, sorry, I beg your pardon. Because I don't know.
It's a significant difference.
The formula I just gave would be disastrous, probably, wouldn't it? Let me just do that again. Is your waist measurement less than half your height? If it is, then you're in reasonable shape, and I'll drink to that. So, chin chin, and that is our treat of the week, Portuguese wine. You may have seen from the opening titles there. 1 minute to go. Final words. My final word, a request for you, James, is in Mindful Migration Mondays. We are coming up. I think they've got an election in America. For some reason, I'm aware of
really?
this. Yes.
I hadn't heard about that. Wow.
Early November. I think we need your help, James, mindfully as a psychotherapist. You know, a lot of people are, Pat, I live here now. This is not just Americans. The whole world is affected by the American election, whether they like it or not. And I think we need some help. I think we need some help in balancing, calming the mind, because I think wherever you are on this, the next month or so is going to get a little bit giddy. So if I could ask for your help on that, on behalf of the community, that would be wonderful, James.
There are various sports that call the spaces in between the silly season.
Yes.
I know it's fairly common. This is one of those in American politics. It's the silly season.
Yeah, but still, I think it has an effect on people, right? Because of the way.
Possibly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, if you could guide us on how it could not have an effect on people, that would be wonderful.
I don't know. I don't know. I can guarantee that.
Not now.
But how to deal with whatever effect it's having on you would be a good idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not expecting you to go to the White House or anything like that. Just some help for us here would be great. Although you might get the equivalent of an MBE in due course.
I'm here to influence the American elections.
Right. Yes. No, you're not Russian. You can't do that. No, so I
They'll
shouldn't
say,
have
well, you have one vote.
Yes, exactly. Right. Okay. So thank you, James. I've just dumped that on you. You don't have to answer right now. You've got a whole week. Tig, ladies first, your last word.
My last word. Really disappointed. We only had 200 days of sun.
250. No, you devalued it already. But I'm with you. It does feel like 200. 150.
It's been a weird year this year, isn't it, with weather? I have to say. But yeah, James doing a rundown on the American elections, because we're sort of like, I'm still scratching our head at how Trump was ever there.
So am I, and I think so are many Americans. Just so we're not, no one on the planet who pays attention is not scratching their head.
Yeah, but I'm asking you how to deal with
for him.
James, hold on. I'm not asking.
We won't go into it. No, we can't. Don't have the time. I understand, but I hear you, Tig. I hear you.
Stop it, you two. Keep it out of the sides, because that's part of the problem, isn't it? You know, we've been scratching our head. I think we've scratched our head so much that we've got little sores.
It's a little raw.
So yes, can you help us deal with the rawness rather than help us decide which way to vote? Because that's not going to end well, James. All right.
How maybe to stop scratching your head would be a better.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tig, was that your last word?
That was my last word. Don't vote Trump. There you go.
Oh, Tig.
Oh, James. That was explosive. Boom.
James, do you have a last word that is not polar or that can bring calm to potentially troubled? Coach Turner started it with his rant about the BMI, then Tig escalated it. Now, James, please bring us back to the center.
Okay. Well, and this is actually the first, I try to go with the first thing that comes to me when you say, ooh, last word. And it could literally be a last word, because I've already given the context, but culture.
Yes.
Look at it. What is it? Yes. Try to understand it from that point of view as opposed to this point of view, and it will begin to make more sense to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Right. Okay. Thank you both very much indeed. See you again next month, Tig. Thank you for your excellent information and support of people, and keep up the good work despite people coming to you with some quite strange requests at this particular time in the trajectory of being a Brit in Portugal. Okay, and lots of love to you in your new home as well. Continue to enjoy that lovely situation that you've created for yourself there, and you, James, as well. Tonight it's the Wine Club at 8 o'clock. We have a new theme, an intro sequence for that as well, which I'll play for you now. It's rosés tonight. His and hers rosés we'll be trying tonight. Join us for that if you like your Portuguese wine. Take care and bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Give yourself a nice round of applause. Ciao.